Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It's Connor here, and I'm just here to give my quick thoughts on the game today with Leeds United up against Crystal Palace. So, as I say, it's not going to be as in detailed as it normally is, but I thought I'd just come on and give my thoughts just really quickly. So, yeah, I hope you're all doing fantastically well, as I always say. But yeah, let's get into it. Obviously, Leeds drawing today with Crystal Palace. My overall thoughts, don't know, not great. I think, and it's only a preseason game. I get all these caveats. I know like people are going to come in and start spamming the chat with that. I get that, I do, but sometimes there are a few worrying bits. I think we look sharper in some areas. Sinisterra going off with evidently a hamstring injury ruined my viewing of the match straight off the bat. So I don't really know what we're going to go for in the first game of the season, which is what, 2 weeks, probably a little bit more than 2 weeks away. A hamstring injury, everybody, I've had bad ones myself, and they can, you can be out for a long period of time. Lesson, the hamstring injuries that aren't that critical and serious, normally he's still out for 2 to 3 weeks. So the likelihood is, if he is holding his hamstring, if he is coming off at that point, he's probably going to miss the Wolves game. So my lineup would be that front four. I'll probably be looking at Harrison, Aronson, and Gelhardt in and behind Patrick Bamford. I think that's what you got to look at, really. There's technicalities there. There's a few, there's creative sparks there, and that's pending us not getting any more attackers in. But I think that happened. Obviously, Sinisterra went off, and then Forshaw went off, gingerly holding his sort of leg as well, which is just, it seems like typical Leeds, doesn't it? So yeah, I mean, within 33 minutes, guys, it's not the best place to be in, and it's so annoying, isn't it? It's so frustrating because it seems like every other team that plays Leeds United, you just know if a team is to get an injury, it's a Leeds United player. It's always going to be a Leeds United player, which is so damn frustrating. But the pitch was absolutely horrific, which didn't help matters at all. But yeah, I think there's evident sharpness. I mean, we had our real first 11 out, and I thought in that first half, we were the better team. We're the better team. What I will say, everybody, is that is a Crystal Palace side without Mark Guehi, Wilf Zaha, Michael Elise. They have Christian Benteke. They have huge players missing from that side, and they've not had the best preseason, Crystal Palace. So, we'll talk about transitioning just a little bit when it comes to Leeds defensively, but that was a considerably weaker Crystal Palace side. Leeds had the strongest side out in the first half, probably edged it a little bit. Well, I'd say we did edge it, definitely, but we're not really coming up against the full-strength Crystal Palace side. And I'd say in the first half, that was a full-strength Leeds United side, bar Mark Rocker. But yeah, so I think that's definitely got to be taken into consideration. As I said, I think we're better, but there are a few caveats in there. Forshaw went off, obviously. The pitch we've mentioned. Let's just get into a few of your comments before we carry on, everybody. I'm obviously interested to get your thoughts. Let's have a look. Not great. Joe's in the building, says it ain't looking great. Yeah, just think it was okay. We need to be on side more. That's just true. Ben's saying not creating enough. I can completely agree with that, mate. We look toothless up front. Not great, not terrible. Definitely shows why we need a left back and a striker. Pitch not ideal, says Dave. Adonis says Greenwood did well. That's interesting, mate, isn't it? And that's football. That's football. I think there's a few. I think stylistically, he's the one who fits this system the best out of the youngsters. I think Greenwood, it's pretty obvious. Still think there's a few deficiencies there with his game, and I know he's young, but I almost see him in a little bit of a Rodrigo bracket sometimes, how he goes around the pitch, how he's able to pick it up, slalom left and right. But I think like Rodrigo, he just takes too many touches on the ball sometimes. But he played a nice little ball through to Gelhardt, and I believe Gelhardt was offside. He was offside 2 times there, where I thought he should have been, he should have maintained his line. It's pretty simple to do that. I just thought it was a little bit like that. The Villa game was probably a little bit better, but it was the same signs. Leeds were still getting hit on the break, and we weren't creating that much going forward. But yeah, I wanted to touch on Rodrigo because I put a tweet out about Rodrigo, and naturally you have to delete every tweet you put out there because it comes back to bite you, of course. But just because Rodrigo scored doesn't mean that my thoughts are any different whatsoever. He got a penalty. It's a nice penalty, but overall, I think the beauty of Rodrigo is because he's so technical, right? He's able to fizz those balls in those central areas. And we've seen that, we've seen that in the preseason games. We've seen that toward the back end of last season. but there's not enough of that from Rodrigo. And, you know, when he fizzes a ball into Bamford or whatever, tests his touch, that's where you can see his technical nature and his vision as well, Rodrigo, in those little pockets, because he's excellent at doing that. But the problem is he'll do that one in 10, 1 in 15. And there was 3 or 4 occasions in the first half where Leeds are building an attack and he's just giving the ball away, not looking where he's giving it and giving the ball away. And I think as Leeds fans, when for the past 10, 15 years, really, we've seen one guy who's come in and been that creative spark in Pablo Hernandez. And of course, we've got to let go of the past, of course we have, but we're just drawing comparisons. Who was able to find those passes so frequently, yes, at a lower level, but he was able to find those passes so frequently. And from going that to really a somewhat replacement for Pablo Hernandez in Rodrigo in terms of a creative capacity, and him not being able to do a tenth of what Pablo did in terms of success rate, it's really, really frustrating. I just think sometimes it's the basics. Sometimes I think his running's not there. Sometimes I will question his effort. I really will. And there were parts in that first half where he give the ball away and just meander back where everybody else is tear-arsing after it. And that's what I don't understand with Jesse. Why has he been made captain earlier on in the pre-season? And why is he coming on? You know, I get that he scored the goal, you know, but it is a penalty. I just thought to myself, you know, could there have been a different substitution there? Could Somerville have come on a little bit earlier? Yeah, I don't know. I just thought to myself it was a little bit confusing. Maybe we could have gone to that Harrison, Aronson, Gelhardt 3 in behind Patrick Bamford and given Bamford a bit more minutes, because we are going to have to see Patrick Bamford, everybody, play a few more minutes in this Leeds United side. I know we're bubble wrapping him at the minute, but we just have to get this sorted out. We can't be going into this season with more injury risks and more injury woes. And it looks, unfortunately, probably I'm a little bit downbeat. It's not about the performance. I'm not negative. I'm just saying, when you get an injury to Sinisterra, when you get an injury to Adam Forshaw, and that second half, it's not great to look at. It really wasn't. And I thought the game was turgid. I'll be honest with you, everybody. I think there are going to be some quite a few turgid games this season. It's just whether or not we can win the majority of our games to keep us in the Premier League, to keep us in that middle bracket of sides. So do I think we can do that? I do think we can do that. Of course I do. I'm just a little bit worried about elements. You've got a Crystal Palace side there who are very, very undercooked. They've not been great in pre-season, and they're still able to hit Leeds continuously on the counter-attack. Now, what Leeds United do in this counter-press under Jesse Marsch is, you've seen it so many times, you will have seen it so many times, is that they literally can be, and there was points in that first half where there's 7 players charging down 3. Now, if those 3 players are able to bypass that press, if they're able to alleviate and get past that press, Leeds are in deep, deep trouble. Now, not only was that shown today, that was shown against Brisbane, and it was definitely shown against Aston Villa as well. So when you are in those areas, when you're pressing, your percentages have to be high. You really have to win that ball 85% of the time and just rely on your defence in the other 15%. But the defence have got to be good. And everybody keeps turning around and saying the defence is much better. I think it is when we're going forward. And I think it is in general. I think the structure is much better. However, when we're in transition, when other teams, it literally can be as simple as booting the ball up from Leeds attacking a set piece. That's how easy it can happen. Someone holding the ball up, then it's a 2-on-2 action or a 3-on-2 action. Defensively, we've got to be better 1v1. We have to be better in terms of just positioning ourselves as well as a defensive unit and getting ourselves ready for that situation, because it's happened numerous times in pre-season. That's probably about 3 big chances that we saw today from Crystal Palace just through transition. So yeah, I just think it was okay. We look a little bit sharper. The first half was all right. I thought Aronson looked really good again. Rocker, when he came on, I liked it when he was annoyed that he got taken off. That was nice to see, a little bit of bite. He looked really good again when he came on. I think he's just a bright spark from what I've seen so far in terms of the new signings. He's my favourite, as you guys know. Christensen, I thought, looked decent. But there is way more that needs to be done. Way more that needs to be done. And as I say, guys, it was a very, very undercut Crystal Palace side from the start. You know, and a lot of people were saying, obviously, it was a massive change for Leeds in the second half. It was, but it was still a huge change for Crystal Palace in the second half as well. Yeah, with also having 4 of the better players not in the side. So, yeah, listen, I think it's a building block, obviously, but there is. Everybody keeps talking about us going forward, and I think that's right. I think we need to bring players in really quickly now. We still have to address the left back. I still want us to address the experienced goalkeeper. But the Sinisterra thing was was a big one today. And this is the problem, isn't it, with pitches, with horrendous pitches like that. The referee, once again, I absolutely love Australian people in general, but the referees for me down there have just been absolutely shocking. Some of the tackles that have been going in the Villa game, even in the Brisbane game, the Palace game, flipping heck, like just get both captains over at the start of the game or 15 minutes into the game and say, look, lads, we need to start reducing some of these tackles because they're flying in. No referee has done that yet when we've been down under. And, you look at that Archie Gray tackle, that could have been avoided with the referee stopping that early on, stopping the tackles, but they're building up and they were doing it. He was doing it again today. It's been built up and built up and built up. But yeah, I don't know. I think, well, I do know. I think the defense still needs work, and I think it's a little bit naive to just think we're perfect in that. But then it's a system-based thing, which is the problem. The problem is it's a system-based thing, and we can't do much about that. We're always, and we spoke about this on the One Leeds fan channel last season, we're always going to get hit on that counter-attack. We're always going to get hit because that's the way we play. We play central. We press as a unit, and when we press as a unit, if the ball gets past that press, that's when you're susceptible. And, that's why every single defender needs to be on it. Unfortunately for me, Diego Llorente is nowhere near starting. He's too erratic. The left back obviously needs to be sorted. We all know that. But yeah, I think there needs to be a lot sharper for Leeds. Listen, a lot of people might disagree with me on this. It's only a friendly. Keep having to say it. I know, but as Leeds fans, we're going to derive a narrative from a friendly. We're going to try be as objective as we can. Yes, it's a friendly, but you do have to judge your team on friendlies. And I said this to Joe not long ago. You can't judge Marcelo Bielsa's friendlies last season like we all did, and we all said it was impactful. We all said it wasn't good from the start. And now, because we've got these friendlies that we've played, we just don't judge them. You've got to judge your side. You've got to, you look at Man United now, they're all getting all excited because they've won 3 games out of 3. Hopefully that'll come down and hammer them in the long run. But you do take things from friendlies. Of course you do. I've taken things from friendlies, like I absolutely love Marc Roca. I want to see him and Tyler Adams in that partnership, and I think they look good together. I've also taken from these pre-season friendlies that Marc Roca and Forshaw are a decent little combination there. I've also learned from these friendlies that Christensen's very, very good at the overlap, and he's very good at bombing into the channels. I've also learned in these friendlies that Leo Yelder has impressed me at bits as well, really impressed me. I've also learned in these friendlies that we can rely on Joe Gelhardt for longer periods of the season. So you have got to take things from friendlies. You can't just say, oh, it's a friendly, it doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter. Otherwise, there wouldn't be friendlies there. So, yeah, I think a lot to work on. Wolves coming right round the corner, and players need to be brought in. Everybody, players need to be brought in, and I think we're all in agreement of that. Listen, make sure you comment on the video as well. I read all your comments afterwards. Subscribe to the channel, like, of course. There will be a video either today or tomorrow with journalist Graham Bailey, who's been breaking the Jack Harrison news. He's been breaking loads of bits about Leeds United. We've got an exclusive with him on the channel. He's going to be coming on today for a pre-record, and we'll be releasing that either tonight or tomorrow. We're also going to be doing more added bonus reaction on the Patreon account. So if you want to see my thoughts further on the game today, head over to the Patreon chat, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.